Damodara. They work, they tend to the cows. Vrindavan is an agrarian society, agriculture. Therefore, a lot of the residents of Vrindavan would be cowherds. They would take care of their cows, their bulls. They would till the land. It was a very peaceful place, Vrindavan. But what is different about Vrindavan is that Krishna appeared in Vrindavan. And when Krishna appeared in Vrindavan, then Vrindavan became purified, because Krishna was always stepping on the ground of Vrindavan. Wherever Krishna goes, his lotus feet will touch the place. And whatever part of Krishna that touches anything or anyone, that person or that object actually becomes purified. This is a very important point. In Bhagavatam, this is known as Sanjivayati Saktidhara Swadhamna. It means whenever something is touched by Krishna, or if we are somehow connected to Krishna, then we actually are invested with the same Shakti that Krishna has. Up till the point that we are connected to Krishna, we are very ordinary. We are all subjected to birth, death, old age, and disease. And it becomes very difficult for us to understand the true purpose of life. Many people in the world, they just go through life, somehow or another working, eating, sleeping, defending. That's what they do. But that is considered to be no better than the life or existence of an animal. Because animals eat, we eat, they sleep, we sleep, they defend, we defend, they reproduce, we reproduce. So factually speaking, what is the difference between us and animals? The difference maybe is we are more sophisticated in our sleeping, more sophisticated in our defending. We are more sophisticated in the way we do all other things. But frankly speaking, we are deluxe versions of animals. That's what we are. So Shastras tell us that we are actually no better than two-legged animals. So therefore, we must understand what is the purpose of life. The purpose of life is actually to realize, first of all, who we are. But knowing who we are, it must come in relationship to where we come from. That is very important. We must know that we are not this body, that we are spirit soul. And if we are actually Atma, or if we are Jivatma, then we have an eternal connection to Krishna, who is known as Paramatma. So if Krishna is our father, then we are the children. If we understand, even if we can theoretically understand that, then it will have a big impact on the way we live our lives. We will not break the rules of the land. We will behave in an ethical way. We will behave in a moral way. We will behave well. So actually, so much of devotional life, if we are practicing correctly, should actually impact the way we behave. If we are doing devotional service, but our behavior is not up to the mark, then something is wrong with our devotional service. Because if you're performing bhakti, and if you're taking it seriously, it should be touching all other aspects of your life. It is not that you have one Mr. Jekyll and one Mr. Hyde. You've heard of Jekyll and Hyde, isn't it? Right? You have Dr. Jekyll, and then you have Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll comes out in the morning. Mr. Hyde is a monster who comes out at night. After a while, having these two opposites doesn't work. If you are a devotee, you should consistently be a devotee. It cannot be that in Gauranga Center we are all very sadhu. The moment we step out and we step into Little India, we all become asuras. Cannot be that way. Then something is wrong, isn't it? So therefore, if we are really serious about devotional service, it should mean that there must be some change to our life. At least there should be a little bit. Every year we should make goals. I'm going to cut this material thing down. I don't need this material item, or I don't need to perform this material activity. This is how we gradually become spiritual. And ultimately, the highest way of becoming spiritual is what the residents of Vrindavan were doing. The residents of Vrindavan were performing all their duties. Nobody was sitting in a cave like a yogi. They were all very busy in their activities. But everything they did, they were mindful and conscious of Krishna.
That's why we call the movement Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means you must be somewhere at the back of our head. We must always do things in such a way that we are conscious of Krishna. If you perform an activity that makes you remember Krishna, then that is Krishna conscious. If you perform an activity that doesn't make you remember Krishna, then that doesn't help your devotional service. You see? So it is up to each one of us to look at our lives and decide how we should become Krishna conscious. For Mother Yashoda, Krishna's mother, it was very simple. She woke up on the day of Diwali, and the moment she woke up, instead of just sitting down and waiting for all her maidservants to do the work for her, she got up, she changed, she dressed herself up very well. She realized Krishna was sleeping because it was still very early and he was a little boy. And she decided, let me now churn butter for Krishna. So what did she do? She performed a very ordinary activity. But the essence and consciousness behind the activity was spiritual. Because while she was churning butter, she was remembering all the pastimes of a little boy, Krishna. And that is what we should do. Krishna has so many pastimes. Krishna killed Kamsa, Krishna killed so many demons. If you read about Krishna and you know these pastimes, then you may be doing housework, for example. Or you may be at your work, performing your work. But in between, you always have the ability to remember something about Krishna. So Mother Yashoda, because she did that, she transformed and spiritualized a material activity into spiritual activity. You see? This is the beauty of our spiritual life. Our spiritual life doesn't tell us to walk away from material activities. It tells us to spiritualize our activities. And how do we do that? By chanting Krishna's names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is something that can be done anywhere, anytime. I know so many housewives and mothers, right, Matajis who are cooking, for example, every day. They tell me that what we do is at the very start, we just start chanting Krishna's names as we cook. I know so many men who go to work. As they're doing their work, they're concentrating, they're just subconsciously chanting Krishna's names. And you will find after a while, your entire consciousness actually changes. Because you are in touch. Sanjeevayati, Saktidara, Swadhamna. You become alive to Krishna. So Mother Yashoda became alive to what Krishna wanted. And which Krishna wanted butter. So she thought, let me churn butter for him. Now you may churn butter because it is business, right? Supposing you have a butter business and you churn butter. The churning is done because the motive is that you want to make money. That's why you're churning it. But the product will never taste the same as something which is done out of love. Isn't it true? When you cook out of love and you offer it to Krishna, that prasad always tastes different. Which is why no matter how many times people come to the center, when they eat the prasadam, they always tell us it's much better than all the restaurants that we're eating in. They do that. And we don't have expert cooks here, but everyone is making that prasadam with love. And because they offer it to Jagannath, and he's the best cook ever, even if there's some minor adjustments that must be made, Jagannath will make the adjustments. By the time the food comes to you as prasadam, it will definitely taste wonderful. So you see, anything where you put your heart into it, that activity captures you, it captures Krishna. It binds both of you together. And Mother Yashoda's love for Krishna made her butter very, very sweet. But Krishna was stealing butter from all the other gopis also. Why? Because the other gopis were also always remembering Krishna. And therefore their butter, whenever they made, was as sweet as Mother Yashoda, was as tasty as Mother Yashoda's. And that's why Krishna would take turns every day. He would go to somebody's house and he would steal butter. See, this is Krishna. So Mother Yashoda was churning butter and Krishna woke up. And he asked her for milk. So she stopped churning and she gave him milk. This is the mood of a devotee. For a devotee, it's not the activity that's important. Does the activity please Krishna? If Krishna says, stop churning, give me milk, the devotee will not say, no, Krishna, I have to churn. I'll give you milk later. No, Krishna wants the milk. It is our duty to give him what he wants. So Mother Yashoda stopped the churning and she gave Krishna milk. And when she gave Krishna milk, Mother Yashoda became so happy. Again, remember I told you that when she gave milk, she gave it with love. So the milk for Krishna was very relishable, very relishable. When Putana came, you all know the demon Putana, isn't it? When Putana came to kill Krishna, she also disguised herself as a beautiful gopi. She looked very motherly and she played the part of a devotee. But she had put poison in her breast, and therefore the milk that was mixed with the poison did not taste good at all. Why? Because Putana's motive when she approached Krishna was wrong. It was envious, it was filled with hatred, and it was filled with lust, anger, and greed. So therefore Krishna could understand that this milk is not the milk of love. It is the milk that is coming from someone envious of me. So Mother Yashoda's milk very, very wonderfully satisfied Krishna. But Mother Yashoda heard that the pot, she had a pot of milk that she had put in the kitchen. And that pot of milk was boiling over. She could hear, that the whistling of the fire, she could smell, she could hear something was burning. And therefore she thought, I must save the milk. So she ran inside to save the milk and she left Krishna down. Now Krishna had not fully fed and therefore he became very upset. He thought, I must punish my mother because she put me down. How dare she do that? And so he took a stone and he broke the pot that Mother Yashoda was making. And he took all the butter from there. But after doing that, he also realized that what he did was wrong. When Krishna realized what he did was wrong, he knew Mother Yashoda would be upset. Just like a child is worried about the mother who's upset with him, Krishna thought, better I run away. I won't stand here and wait for my mother. Let me run away. So he ran away. And when Mother Yashoda came back, she was very surprised. She thought, why is Krishna not here? Then she realized why. He had broken the pot. And now he knows what he did was wrong, and therefore he had run away. So Mother Yashoda said, today I am going to discipline Krishna. And she took a stick and she said, this boy cannot continue behaving this way. It is the duty of parents to discipline the children. Whether they are 5 years old or 50 years old, it's still our duty to discipline them. That is Shastra. That is the Vedic system. And therefore Mother Yashoda thought, let me do this to Krishna. I must discipline him. Now Krishna could easily have acted as if he is God. So that when she was going to discipline him, he would have said, how dare you discipline me? But Krishna had so much respect for his mother, as children should have respect for their parents. And so he dutifully was afraid of her, just like a child would be. And he ran away. And so Mother Yashoda went inside and she went into a storeroom. You look at this picture. This picture is very indicative of this Leela. She entered the storeroom and to her surprise she saw Krishna was standing on a mortar. And as he was standing on that mortar, he was tiptoeing and he was getting more butter out from all the pots that were hanging. And who was he serving? He was serving all the monkeys. Can you see the monkeys down? Some of the pots had fallen. Some pots had broken. And the monkeys and Krishna were having a big feast. The monkeys were feeding Krishna. Krishna was feeding the monkeys. And they were very, very jolly and very happy. Mother Yashoda was standing by the side, so they couldn't really see her. But what she did not realize is that Krishna's playing with the monkeys was not an ordinary transaction. Krishna was Lord Ram in his previous incarnation. And these monkeys were the Vanaras in their previous birth. They had served Lord Ram so beautifully that when Lord Ram asked them, anything you want, I will give it to you. They only asked for one thing. They said, Lord Ram, when you come back again, let us also come back so that we have the opportunity to serve you. This is very important. This is the mood of a devotee. Today, the organizers today, right, they have organized it for you. Advaita Prabhu, Achintya Mataji, they have done this for you. But they are not doing this out of a motive. Their only motive is that you should become happy in bhakti. You were not charged, right, for coming in. Nobody charged you $30 to come in, isn't it? Otherwise, half of you may not even be here. But the fact is, you all came because of love. This is very important. You know, there's a very famous prayer by a great devotee known as Vritrasur. And he says this very nicely. Aham hareta vapadai dasa nudaso bhavitasmi bhuyaha Mane smareta supate gunamste granita va karma karo tukayaha. This mood is the same mood as the mood of the monkeys. That's why we are quoting this. He says, my Lord, I only pray that again and again I should actually be the servant of your servants, and I must serve you. That's all I want. I pray that again and again I should come back to be your servant or be the servant of your servant. Why? Because your servants are always dedicated to remembering you. Their mouths, their speech is always used to glorify you. They're always hearing about you, and their mind is always thinking about you. You see? So that is why Vritasur says, I want always to come back to serve you. Then he says another prayer. Nanaka prishtam, nachaparameshtam, na sarva bhaumam, narasadhipatyam, na yoga siddhir, apunar bhavam va, samanjasadva, virahaya kangshe. Now he says, my Lord, you are the source of all opportunities. Any opportunity you get to serve Krishna, that opportunity is Krishna. It is not yours, it is his. He is giving you the opportunity. So Vritasur says, I don't desire to enjoy Dhruvaloka. I don't desire to enjoy heaven or hell, nor Bhumi. I don't even desire to get Siddhi. I don't even desire mukti or liberation. All I want is an opportunity to serve you. Then the third prayer he says, Ajata paksha ivamataram kagaha stanyam yatavat shatara shudartaha priyam priyeva vyusitam vishanna manoravindakshadridekshate tvam. This is very beautiful. Again he gives the mood of a devotee, like the monkeys, like Mother Yashoda. He says, O lotus-eyed Lord, just like the babies, the baby birds, they are in the nest. Their wings are not developed, so they cannot fly out to find food. So what do? They lovingly and patiently and eagerly wait for their mother to come back and for their mother to feed them. This is how they are. Second example, he says, my Lord, just like the calves, if you tie a calf, even if you tie the calf away from his mother, the moment you release the calf, each calf will know exactly who its mother is. Have you tried that? If you've done any Goshala work, you will know no matter where you put a calf, the calf will find a way back to its mother. So in the same way, that is the way we should be. The monkeys, wherever they went in Vrindavan, they always came back to Krishna. Whatever Mother Yashoda was doing, she would come back to Krishna. And whatever we are doing, we must always come back to Krishna. And then he says one last very nice point. He says, just like a husband, he's away for a long time, but when he comes back home, his wife is so happy and he is there to satisfy her. In the same way, he says, I always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service to you. This is the mood of the monkeys. And so, Lord Ram told them, I promise you now that when I come back again, you will come back to serve me. And so when Lord Ram came back as Krishna in Dwapara Yuga, the monkeys came back from Vanaras, they became the monkeys in Vrindavan. You see? So Krishna never forgets a promise he makes to you. You may forget your promise to Krishna, or you may modify your promise to Krishna, or you may say, Krishna, can you give me installments on the promise? I promise that I will overnight become a devotee, but now can I break it up into 5 installments? You think that way. But Krishna never breaks his promise. What he gives completely. And so Krishna fed the monkeys, and the monkeys fed him. And in this way, he fulfilled the hearts of his devotees. And the monkeys became very happy until they saw Mother Yashoda. Then they all ran out very quickly from the window, leaving only Krishna there to see Mother Yashoda. Now when Krishna turned and he saw Mother Yashoda, he became very fearful. Why? Look at the stick that she's carrying. He thought that she's going to punish him. And therefore he got off from the motor and he started running away from her. Again, he did not stand there. Most children may stand, but very naughty children will run. And Krishna was very mischievous. And so he ran. And Mother Yashoda thought, let me catch Krishna. It shouldn't be difficult. And so she started running after him. Just when she was going to catch him, Krishna was 1 meter ahead. Just when she was going to catch him, Krishna was 2 meters ahead. And after a while, Mother Yashoda did not have the stamina. She thought, how can this child run and run and run? It didn't look like he was tired. But Mother Yashoda was becoming very tired. And she thought, what a Diwali this is. In the morning I churn butter so hard for Krishna. Now I have to run after him. And I still can't catch him. And finally Mother Yashoda decided the only way to catch Krishna is, she shouted to Krishna, Krishna, please allow me to catch you. Slow down. Let me catch you. And when Krishna heard such a loving, simple, unmotivated surrender and prayer from Mother Yashoda, he immediately obliged. And he allowed himself to be caught. Demons cannot catch Krishna. They are trying, but because they don't surrender to Krishna, they cannot catch Krishna. So the secret to catching the lotus feet of Krishna is our mood of surrender. Surrender in Sanskrit is Sharanam or Sharanagatihi, right? Our destination, Gatir, is Krishna. And then we do Sharanam, which is we surrender to the destination, which is Krishna. And Krishna is known in Bhagavatam as Sharanyam. Sharanyam means one who is worthy of taking shelter. If you really want to take shelter of someone, take shelter of the greatest person. That's how it should be. You know, one time there was a little boy. He was a young man. He was getting young. And he woke up one day with this ambition. I want to serve the greatest person in the world. And he saw in his village that the headman was the greatest person. So he went to the headman and said, sir, can I serve you? Because you're the greatest person. And the headman said, okay, you can become my personal assistant. Then one day he saw the headman was bowing down to the tax collector. Everybody bows to tax collector, isn't it? So he thought, who is this person whom you are bowing to? He said, he's greater than me because he collects a tax. So let me work for you, tax collector. Tax collector said, you come with me. And he went everywhere and he saw everybody bowing before the tax collector. One day the tax collector went to a big palace, and there the boy saw the tax collector bowing before another personality. And he said, who is this person you are bowing to? And he said, I'm bowing before the king. The king is the master of the whole land. He is the greatest person in this world. So immediately the boy said, my dear king, can I serve you? And the king said, fine, you can serve me. And then he was very happy because he thought he was serving the greatest person. One day the king went out into the forest and the boy followed him. And to his surprise, the king got off a horse, came to under a tree, saw a very simple old man sitting down in meditation. And the boy, to his surprise, saw the king bowing before the man. And he thought, you are the greatest. Why are you bowing to this man? Who is this man? And the king said, he is my spiritual master. He is a sadhu. He is a man of God. So I surrendered to him. And then this boy said to the sadhu, Sadhu, can I surrender to you? And in that way, can I serve you? And the sadhu said, why serve me when we are all surrendered to God? And then the boy said, who is God? And then the sadhu explained to him that God is really the greatest person. You see? So we are all searching for someone to always look up to, isn't it? We all want to look up to someone. But actually we should be looking up to Krishna and his devotees, because they are the true leaders. They are the leaders. They lead us to the right place. They don't lead us to the ditch. They lead us to the right place. So that way, Mother Yashoda surrendered to Krishna. And when she surrendered, Krishna surrendered to her. Look at that. There is surrender between God and the devotee. The devotee surrenders to the Lord surrenders to the devotee. The Lord is so humble that he can take the humble stand and he can say, why should only Mother Yashoda surrender to me? Let me be caught by her. And he got caught by Mother Yashoda. Now Mother Yashoda wanted to tie him. Okay? So she brought him to the mota, and she saw to her surprise that Krishna was crying. And then she realized, oh my God, he's crying because I have a stick. The poor boy thinks I'm going to beat him. So she put the stick down. But Krishna kept crying. His body was shaking. His tears were flowing. And the kajal and the ointment in his eyes, they were also flowing. Have you seen children? They start rubbing their eyes and everything goes off because they're crying. That's what happened to Krishna. So Mother Yashoda's heart became very soft. And she thought, poor Krishna. But she also knew he was very mischievous. Sometimes, when children cry, what happens to us is our heart melts, right? And we say, no, it's okay, it's okay. But they know that when they cry, it's the most powerful weapon. So Mother Yashoda thought, aha, he's crying, but I have to tie him up, because otherwise it's going to be a problem. So she took rope and she wanted to tie Krishna. But when she brought the rope in front of her, right in front of his belly, it was 2 inches short. She tried again, more rope, 2 inches short. She went to the neighbors and she said, can I have rope? They were curious, rope to tie who? To tie Krishna. You have so much rope at home, Yashoda Mata. Why are you coming to us? Because all the rope cannot tie Krishna. Then they said, let us also come. We want to watch this. When something interesting is happening, right? Everybody wants to watch it, isn't it? Have you noticed how in Singapore, suddenly you're driving down a highway, all the cars start slowing down because there's an accident next door. In the opposite side, there's an accident. Suddenly, everybody's curious what's happening there. If we are not careful, we will end up with an accident. And have you noticed also something about our communities? We are always very, very happy with gossip. If 2 people can come together and speak about the third person, we'll speak, as long as the third person is not there, isn't it? And you also know that when someone is gossiping to you about a third person, you can be very sure after you go, you will become the third person. But we don't realize that. In Vrindavan, the gopis were big gossips, but they were gossiping about Krishna. They came together and they discussed the third person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because it had to do with Krishna, they were completely purified. That's why we tell you, even if you have the tendency to gossip, at least gossip about Krishna. Pick up the phone with each other and say, hey, I read Krishna book today. This is what Krishna did. This is what he didn't do. This is what he said. Then you say, yes, I know what he said about this. And that is very good gossip. And that will liberate you. It won't drag you down. And so all the gopis came and they watched with delight. Mother Yashoda was trying to tie Krishna, but it was impossible. Finally, for the second time in the day, Mother Yashoda surrendered to Krishna. And she said, Krishna, I can't tie you. Can you please find some way for me to tie you? And when Krishna heard that, he gave his mercy to his mother. The 2 inches represent 2 very important points. One is the endeavor and the surrender of Mother Yashoda. And the second is the mercy, right, of the Supreme Lord. Wherever there is surrender, there is the reciprocal mercy. So you cannot say that Krishna is not merciful to you. Mercy is always there. Question is, are we surrendered? To the extent of your surrender, ye yata mam prapadyante, tam stataiva bhajami aham. To the extent of your surrender, to that extent Krishna will reciprocate. So nobody can say, I'm doing so much bhakti, but Krishna is not taking care of me. That's not true. That's really not true. If you are really doing bhakti, Krishna will reciprocate with you. And so he allowed himself to be tied. A person who could never be bound. Krishna is free. The demons can't catch Krishna. The demons can't bind Krishna. The queens of Dwarka could not bind Krishna. Right? All the great personalities cannot bind Krishna. But Mother Yashoda bound him with love. With unconditional, unmotivated and uninterrupted love. That is the rope. The rope was not an ordinary rope. It was the rope of her love. And so Mother Yashoda became very happy. Now I have tied up Krishna. Let me go and do what I have to do for Diwali. But Krishna cannot be tied for long. Even if you tie Krishna, he can still move. And Krishna started crawling towards the end of the garden. And the mota, which was horizontal, started rolling vertically with him. He came down a sloping part of the garden, and then he came between 2 very big trees, known as the Yamal Arjuna trees. As he got through the trees, the mota got stuck. But Krishna is very powerful. And with his great power, he pushed, and the trees fell down. And in place of the tree, Krishna saw 2 beautiful sons of Kuvera. They are known as Nala Kuvara and Manigriva. So Krishna said, why are you two boys in my garden behaving like trees? What happened to you? And they said, Krishna, a long story. Many, many years ago, we were very, very pious individuals. Our father was the great Kuber, and therefore we are supposed to be devotees of the Lord. But we somehow or another got into bad association. We associated with pride. We associated with a mind which was meant for sense enjoyment. We drank liquor. We broke all the principles, and we were drunk half the time because we were possessed with pride. Why was there pride? Because there was plenty of money in the bank. Sometimes when we are very proud of what we have, there is very little faith in God, because we think our money will save us. But if really everybody can be saved by money, why aren't the richest persons in the world living forever? You think about it logically. If money is going to save us, how is it that the most richest people and the poorest beggar, they both have to meet death? So pride over riches is a foolish thing, because it means nothing actually. We should learn to be humble that whatever that is coming is Krishna's prasadam. That is the mood of someone who has money. These boys, they were so intoxicated, they could not understand the value of life. They could not understand that they were Jivatma and that their goal was to unite and serve Paramatma. So then one day Narada Muni passed by. Narada is a great devotee of the Lord, Param Bhakta. But when he saw these two boys, he was going to give them blessings. But the two boys got out and they were drunk. They did not even wear clothes, and they stood before Narada. And Narada felt very sad for them. And he had a prayer. His prayer was, I pray that these two boys should become trees. Because what is the value of your consciousness? Better you become trees. And you don't like to wear clothes. Trees don't wear clothes. Become trees. But I pray that somehow or another, you will have the ability to take darshan of Krishna. That's all my prayer is. And when he prayed in that way, Narada Muni left. When he left, the two boys became trees. And they became trees in the court of Nanda Maharaj. And they waited, and waited, and waited. Thousands of years passed, and they thought Narada had prayed for us to somehow or another take darshan of Krishna, because that was Narada Muni's prayer. He prayed that you must become trees, but I pray that Krishna will deliver you. But they waited and waited so long. And sometimes people ask, why did they have to wait so long? Why did Krishna make them wait so long? The answer is very simple. When you offend Krishna, it doesn't matter to him. But if you offend his devotee, he becomes very upset. Have you yourself been in such situations? If someone insults you, you don't mind. Someone insults someone you love, you really get upset, isn't it? If supposing you love your parents and you see they're being disrespected by someone, you can't take it. It doesn't matter if you are not being respected. That's up to them, but we don't like it. In the same way, Krishna never tolerates if a devotee is disrespected. So we have to be very careful here. It's the truth. If you are born in a family of devotees, you must be very careful to respect them, especially if they're elder to you. You must respect them, not only because they're elder to you, but because they're also devotees. Narada was so much older to these two boys. They were hardly 18, 19 or 20. But they thought they knew the world. They thought they knew everything. And therefore they had no respect for Narada. So Krishna made them stay there and suffer to be trees until he decided, let me now give them mercy. And so after 100 celestial years of their life, which is a very long time, by the way, if you want to know the timing, 1 year of our human life is equal to 1 celestial day of a Devata. So you imagine, how long does it take? Which is why when we offer pindas for our forefathers, if they go to Pritaloka, we do it once every year, because for them it is 1 day. So 100 celestial years was a long time. And when Krishna came there, he said, today I am going to deliver you, not because I want to deliver you, but because Narada had prayed for you, and it is my duty to make his prayer the truth. If he said, you will be delivered by me, then I will deliver you. Because a pure devotee statement never goes wrong, never turns out to be false. And when Nalakuvara and Manigriva heard this, they became very, very humbled. They said, Krishna, you are indeed the master of all creation. You are Gokuleshwar, the master of Gokul. And even though you yourself are bound, you are now freeing us. What a beautiful point. Krishna, by the way, was still tied. And they said that even though Krishna, you are tied to the motor, you are so kind that you are now untying us from our curse. You see the point? So Nalakuvara and Manigriva were also bound. They were bound by the rope of their pride. But Narada Muni's prayer released them. It released them from their pride. And so his prayer bound Krishna, and Krishna released them. See how it works? This is the science of devotional service. If you serve devotees, Krishna becomes very pleased. Sometimes people ask me the question, how do we know who is a devotee? Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, had a very nice point to say. He said, except for you, everyone else is a devotee. Except for us, everyone else is a devotee. So if we have that mood that everyone is better than us, our mood will always be one of service. And so Nalakuvara and Manigriva were liberated. Their ropes were freed. And their ropes were freed because Narada bound Krishna with his rope of love. Krishna was bound by the rope of love of Mother Yashoda. And when she tied him, she became free. Free to do whatever she could on Diwali day. And the monkeys, they tied Lord Ram with the rope of their love and their service. And Krishna untied their rope in Dwapara Yuga by serving them. This same Krishna who untied so many other people's ropes, at the end of the pastime, he was still tied to the motor. He was still tied. And so he waited until Nanda Maharaj and the boys and the cowherd men, they all came to see. You know why they came? They came because they heard the two trees crashing. And they rushed out to think what has happened. And when they saw Krishna with the motor and the two trees down, then Nanda Maharaj untied Krishna. And after he untied Krishna, he asked Krishna, what happened? Krishna did not say anything. But some of his friends had watched this. And they told Nanda Maharaj, Krishna brought the trees down. And Nanda Maharaj said, cannot be. Krishna of all people being able to bring the tree down. It can't be. All the cowherd men looked at Nanda Maharaj and said, this is little Krishna. How can he do all these things? And then Mother Yashoda came out. When she saw the tree had crashed, she got worried. And then all the gopis came and they did drishti for Krishna. You know, sometimes you do drishti because you think, oh, someone has cast an evil eye on Krishna. Let me do some drishti for Krishna. But none of them realize that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he can do anything. He can do anything. So take this Leela back with you. It's a beautiful Leela. It tells us so many things about how to become a devotee. And if you really think about it, a devotional service is really about a relationship. And it's about putting Krishna in the center. Before you start something, you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When you're in the middle of something, you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I'm not hearing anyone. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll just warn you of one thing. There's a shloka in Bhagavatam where Yamaraj says something very important. He says to his servants Yamadutas, bring me 4 kinds of people. These 4 kinds of people you must bring. The one person who doesn't want to bow before Krishna. Bring me the person who doesn't want to do service to Krishna. Bring me the person who doesn't want to hear about Krishna. And bring me the person who doesn't want to chant Krishna's names. Any of these categories not fulfilled, bring them to me. So we want to avoid Yamaraj. We want to go back to Krishna. It's not a meeting you will like. Better to see Krishna than to see Yamaraj. Okay? So we are going to chant the Damodara Ashtakam now for a few minutes. And this Damodara Ashtakam is very beautiful. It describes the entire pastime, but it's very auspicious to chant it today. So all of you, no excuse, is right in front of you. You can all take turns to come forward. Prabhu and Mataji are here, so you can all take turns, come forward, do Achaman, and then the lamps are ready for you, and you can offer them lovingly to the Lord. And when you do it, let your prayer be, Lord Damodara, just like Mother Yashoda tied you with the rope of love, allow me also to render that service to you. Just have that prayer. Don't ask him for, a new car or a better house or a better husband or a better wife. All these things will come and go. But better you ask for bhakti. Okay? Shall we do that? Good. Namah Ishwaram. Namah Ishwaram Sachirananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Kule Brajamana. Your turn. Shwaram Sachirananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Kule Brajamana. Yashoda Biyolu Kaladhava Mahana Param Rishtahamadya Tato Drutya Gomya. Biyolu Kaladhava Mahana Param Rishtahamadya Tato Drutya Gomya. Namah Ishwaram Sachirananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Kule Brajamana. Haribo. Namah Ishwaram. It's nice, I can hear you, but I can't hear the men. Kule Brajamana. Yashoda Biyolu Kaladhava Mahalam Param Rishtahamadya Tato Drutya Gomya. Udantam Muhurnetrayumam Vrijantam Paramoja Yugme Nasatam Kanetam. Haribo. Muhu Swasa Kampa Trirekha Kakanta Smita Graivam Damodaram Bhakti Bhadam. Keep singing. Iti Trik Swalilabi Ananda Kunde Swagosham Nimajan Tamakyapayantam. Haribo. Adiyeshitaneshu Bhakte Jitadvam Guna Premahatastam Satha Vritti Vande. Vadam Devaha Moksham Naha Mokshavadimva Nachanyam Prineham Damodara ji ki. Parishana pina idam teva purna tagopala bahalam sada me manasya virastam kimanye. Jai Balagopal ki. Idam te mukhambojam adyantanile vritam kuntalaisli narakaischa gopya. Tambim baratadaram me manasya virasta alam lakshanare. Namo Deva Damodara Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhu Kajalabdimakam. Jai Damodara ji ki. Kripa drishti vrishya tidinam vatanu grahane shamama nyamedakshi drishya. Veradmajau baddha murtyaiva yadva tvaya mochitau bhakti bhajau pritau cha. तथा प्रेम भक्ति स्वखम में प्रयचा न मोक्षे ग्रहो में स्थिदामोदरे हा. जय प्रेम भक्ति की. नमस्ते स्तुधाम्ने स्फुरन्ति धाम्ने त्वदीयोदराय विश्वस्य धाम्ने. हरि हरि. नमो राधिकाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्दलीला यदेवाय तुभ्यम्. श्रीमती राधा रानी की. नमो राधिकाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्दलीला यदेवाय तुभ्यम्. प्रियाय नमो नन्दलीला यदेवाय तुभ्यम्. प्रियाय नमो नन्दलीला यदेवाय तुभ्यम्. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jaya Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Jaya Yashoda Damodara Ji ki, Jaya Vrindavana Dham, Vrindavana Dham, Vrindavana Dham, Jaya Vrindavana Dham. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan ki. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Shri Yashoda Damodara Ji ki, Jai Shri Radha Damodara Ji ki, Jai Shri Vrindavan Bhumi Dham ki, Jai Shri Giri Govardhan ki, Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudeva ki, Hai Gaura Premanande. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. Before you go back, I want to, and as you're having prasadam, or after prasadam or before prasadam, we would strongly urge you to please take a look at the book table. Is it downstairs, Prabhu?
At the entrance.
Okay, we have a book table at the entrance. Don't walk away from it. You have to see it anyway. Whatever that we have spoken about, all knowledge comes from the Gita. It's a very small, very easy to carry pocket edition, but it's filled with transcendental knowledge. There's another very beautiful book called The Second Chance. It's a wonderful story of how a devotee got a second chance to actually perform Krishna consciousness. This is one of my personal favorites. It's called The Science of Self-Realization. I first read this book in 1983, and it changed my life. I was 13 then, and all the questions that I had about life, every single one was answered in this book, and it was amazing. You should read it. And then, of course, the story that we spoke about, that's from Krishna book. And this Krishna book is amazing because the stories here are so easily written and so easily understood. It's not very difficult to understand them. Even a child can read this, and it'll be a perfect bedtime reading for parents and for children. And don't forget, we also have a Vaishnava calendar. All the important dates, right, for us to observe in terms of the festivals, as well as the Ekadashi dates, they're all available here. And more importantly, we have some really beautiful pictures of Krishna, right? So if you keep them in the kitchen and you keep looking at Krishna, at least whatever you're doing becomes purified. So please avail yourself of these opportunities and don't miss the chance to take them. Please enjoy your feast, and thank you so much for coming today. We wish you a very wonderful end of the year, and we wish you a very Krishna-conscious beginning of the year. Please take these beautiful stories back because they are transcendental. And then after taking them back, you must act on them. Until there is a change to your lifestyle, there is no commitment to Krishna. Something has to change. You may have many zeros in your life. All your zeros are properties and CPF and bank balances. They're all zeros because they never go with you when you die. But Krishna is one. If you put Krishna in front of your many zeros, then everything has value. But without Krishna, they just remain zeros. What is the value of 10 zeros? Still zero. But if you just have one in front of just one zero, it has more value than hundreds and thousands of your zeros. So learn to discriminate between what is valuable and what is ultimately not valuable. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Have your prasadam. Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhu.